Can you hear me? Oh, okay. We'll go ahead and try to get started. If you come to some of the TAC meetings, you know that I'm a very, very stickler. We start on time and we quit on time. So tonight I want to start. We've got people coming in, that's okay, because I just want to do a few just kind of opening comments, and then we'll turn it over what the main purpose of the meeting is tonight. But I'm Larry Simmons, and I'm president of the Tollgate Action Committee. And I know a lot of you here, and I really appreciate the turnout tonight. I think we have a great opportunity tonight to make you aware of some things that are going on in the neighborhood and get your opinion. And the important thing is tonight, it's your opinion, not our opinion, your opinion that counts. So what we've done is we've actually, has everybody got the agenda? Everybody got a copy of it? You'll notice on the back, there's a little thing, and what we'd like for you to do is tonight when you leave, is mark one or the other and turn it in, because what we're working on tonight is the development at front of Tollgate. Regent Homes, who's a developer in here in the area, they developed the front of West Haven. They developed part of Berry Farms. If you've been over to Lenox Village, they developed it. They actually now want to develop the front of Tollgate. And unlike a lot of things that we've had in the past in our neighborhood where it's kind of pushed down on us, Regent Homes came to us about a month ago, and they said, hey, we want to buy the front of Tollgate, we want to develop it, but we want to do what you want, not what we want. So they sat down, they showed us some plans, showed us some ideas that they had, and they opened it up, and this was to the TAC, and a few other people were involved with us, and they said, we want to get your opinion. So we gave them a lot of opinions. And they went back, and about 3 weeks later, they came back, which actually a week ago, last night, I believe it was, they came back and presented the findings of what they'd come up with. And the people, the TAC group and a few other people met with them and looked at it, and frankly, we were impressed with what they showed us. Did we get everything we wanted? No. Did we get most of what we wanted? I think so. So we decided then that we were at the point where we wanted to bring this to this group, to the residents of Tollgate, because what Regent Homes has asked us is that they want to go to the town of Thompson Station and basically say, here's what we want to do, and we've got the residents of Tollgate are behind us or not behind us. And again, it's your decision. So tonight we want to just give you the overview of what Regent Homes has put together. What we'll do is we're going to have Dave McGowan, who's the president of Regent Homes, will kind of give you an overview of what they're working on. He'll go through some slides. Then we're going to actually break and have a breakout session where you can go to the tables, ask questions, get all your questions answered. And then hopefully when you leave, you'll have an opinion one way or the other. And we just ask that you mark your ballot or form, and that'll allow us to at least know which way that the Tollgate Action Committee should vote to be able to, whether we support it or whether we don't support it. So with that, I just a quick thing too. I'd like just to introduce a few people here. The Tollgate Action Committee. If you're on the Tollgate Action Committee, stand up, or if you don't mind, just for a second, or raise your hand. Lewis is the vice president. Brad's John, and we've got several other people around here, I think, that helped on the committee. Julie's back there. And by the way, Julie is responsible on the Tollgate Action Committee for the interface with our law officers. And you see her sometimes asking for money or asking for goodies to try to take up money that we can buy things for law officers. And trust me, when the sheriff's deputies come out to Tollgate, they know us because we give them gum and candies and stuff like that Julie does through our program. And it believe it or not, it really makes a difference. So Julie's got her jug back in the back tonight marked with Williamson County on it. If you can put some money in it, what she's trying to do for Christmas is trying to raise $1,000. And I think you've got, what, 600 now, Julie, you said? She's trying to raise $1,000, and instead of giving goodies away, she's got two deputy sheriff families that are in pretty good need for some support for Christmas. So she wants to basically give each one $500 in gift cards to try to support them for Christmas. So if you can drop some money in the bucket back there tonight, that would be great. We'd really appreciate it. That's kind of off the subject, but I wanted to put that plug in while I was talking a second. Also, we have several of our aldermen. I see Graham. I see Brandon. I saw this guy over here, Brian. And anybody else here from the town? Joe, yeah, I was going to introduce Joe. Joe is the town administrator, and So we've got a lot of people here tonight from the town, just wanting to hear what our opinions are. So I think that's everything we need right now. What we'll do, I would ask if you have questions, and I hope you do have questions, but rather than trying to ask them as we go, let Dave go through his presentation, and then when he gets through, we'll have a microphone, and so that everybody can pick it up. And this is also being recorded, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to put this on the Tollgate Village website. Has everybody been to the Tollgate Village website? TGVTN, Tollgate Village, Tennessee, TGVTN.com. Go to it, and I'm hoping we can have both the slides and the audio on the web page for those who are not here tonight so they can go and hear it. With that said, I will turn it over to Dave and let Dave get started. And when we get through, we'll pass the microphone around for people to ask questions so we can make sure they're recorded.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, evening, I should say. I'm David McGowan. I'm president and owner of Regent Homes, Regent Development, and several other little companies. Tonight I have John Byer here. He is Vice President in charge of land development for our company. And Peter Jensen, he's the area manager. Peter actually lives down here in Columbia as a volunteer fireman. Been with our company for about 3 years, and he oversees all the construction we do over in West Haven and all of the construction we do in Berry Farms and other neighborhoods that we have in this general area. A little information about myself. My father was a home builder down in Mobile, Alabama. I graduated from the University of South Alabama, went to work for a big public company called Diamond Head, building golf course communities. In 1984 or so, Sun Oil Company recruited me to come to Tennessee to run one of their divisions up here called Radnor. I ended up buying that division, and then I ran it for about 5 or 6 years and sold it to Pulte Homes, retired. And one day I got tired of being retired, afraid I was going to get in trouble, and my wife kept giving me things I didn't want to do, and I didn't have nobody to help me. So I went out and created another company. We call it Regent Homes and Companies, by the way. And that company right now, we're listed as the 4th largest builder in the Middle Tennessee market. We specialize in building in T&D neighborhoods, traditional neighborhood developments. We're in these type neighborhoods in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're usually invited to come into communities. So we're invited to come into West Haven and do the big condo buildings and the live-work buildings there. We're invited to do the same thing with Berry Farms. We were invited to join their team of builders when they decide to go building. And usually what happens, and so we've actually been looking at Tollgate now for 4 or 5 years. We actually made an offer to buy out the front section a couple of years back. And the powers to be with York Capital and all those guys, they really weren't in a position to sell it at that time. Tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some videos first of what we did in West Haven and what we did in Berry. They're very short, about a minute long each. And we want you to look at the details we put on these buildings and also pay attention to who's in these buildings. One of the things we want to show you that in most T&D neighborhoods, it's not a big box neighborhood. It's not something you try to bring a Best Buy in or something along that line. It's really the mom and pops and the local business people that support a neighborhood. Everything from a dry cleaners to a small ice cream parlor to a restaurant and pub and things of those nature. So pay attention to that. So with that, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and show the 2 videos for us. Those are just some examples of what's been done over at Berry Farms. And basically 75% of the product you saw in those videos we built, and also the architect designed that is actually Smith G and Associates. They're the same architects that we've engaged here. I failed to introduce Troy Gordon a while ago. He's with Reagan Smith. They will be doing the land planning on the property that we're looking at purchasing. One of the things that we are, for someone like us, when we come in a situation like this, is it's kind of like a broken project that got busted up because of the recession. We've had to come into properties like this before, so we try to take and engage the people that were here before to make sure that we try to live to what we call the original vision. And so our intent is to try to live to the vision of Tollgate. This particular rendering right here shows you what Tollgate, the vision the developer originally had. If you look over to the left, you'll see a lot of, toward the bottom, you'll see a lot of three-story product. And you'll see a grid pattern laid out. That's actually where the medical center is now. You look over to the right, and you can see they had a grocery store laid out in that particular location. And so one of the things we're going to show you tonight is our vision of what we want to try to do to try to live to the original intent of Tollgate and how it is to be developed. We've studied information that we got from the carbines. We've also, Brandon Bell's also been able to give us some information. And so one of the things we want to be able to do is to bring Tollgate to life. We've already started marketing our ideas to different commercial tenants, and we have a letter of intent from Jonathan Nevels, who started Jonathan's here in the Nashville area. He sold out to the Revelettes and went out to Murfreesboro and created a new concept called the Boulevard. We actually built that restaurant for him. And you'll see the renderings of what we built for him in the past. And so we've actually met with him several occasions with the architects. So when some of the renderings we'll show you tonight, we've actually gone that far. We actually want to be able to submit the plan for the first 2 acres to the city on the 15th if we're able to get all the information together. See if I can operate this pointer here. Okay, the right goes that forward. We know what the neighborhood wants. The neighborhood wants a nice commercial center out front. And so I added this little rendering, an artist painting of what a neighborhood shopping district would look like. And so when you start thinking about the live works that we want to do up to Main Boulevard, if we're able to capture some kind of a feel, a sense of community, a sense of place that you want to go to, we want Tollgate commercial area to be a destination that somebody who lives in Canterbury, Bridgewater, and any other communities up and down the road, they will come here to be able to have a nice meal at night, to have a nice drink, or to do shopping, or to get other services done for them. This is a master plan for all of Tollgate. And although it's a big blur on that screen, we're going to concentrate on the lower portion here. This area here, and this building right there. So as we go through the presentation tonight, we just want to show you how big Tollgate is and how we're trying to live to the original intent of the neighborhood. This is actually building number 2 that we proposed to go in there. That building will be the second building that we would build in there. You can see the scale of it. We decided to go to a 2-story elevation because of what the size of shelter is and the size of the commercial building that you have for the medical center. We felt that we came in there with a 1-story building that looked squatty. This will not actually be a 2-story building. On the inside, it'll be just 1 story. You will have some storage area above the kitchen areas, but overall, it is a building that looks like it's been rehabbed. We want to capture what we consider the heritage and the history of Tollgate and Thompson Station and try to bring something in that looks like it was developed before World War II. So when you look at the architectural style, that's what we're trying to capture here in the elevation. You can see the different bays laid out on the bottom. Just keep in mind, this would be a steel structure, and we would be able to combine 2, 3 bays. We do have another restaurant that's interested in there. We also have a small taco shop that's interested in this location. And so depending on, as the tenants line up, where we would put them, we do have the flexibility to make them bigger bays or keep them smaller bays. This is a footprint of the site. You can see that's a 7,200 square foot restaurant footprint. That is a very large footprint. That is a casual dining restaurant. So if you went out to Murfreesboro, went out to see the Boulevard restaurant, you would see something very similar to this building on the exterior, and you would see something that's similar size. This is about 1,200 square feet bigger than the restaurant he has right now. What's the advantage of bringing somebody like him in? He is a known operator. He has cash. He can get the restaurant going and get the business going, and he doesn't have to worry about trying to be profitable overnight. He can actually build his business over a year or so and build up the clientele, although he feels very, very positive about this location. And you can see, again, the different size bays. These are standard retail bays that any retail developer would do as far as size. And so when you see the depth of them and all, one of the things, too, to note is that in the restaurant side, if you notice on what we would consider the west end of the building, we have a small patio that's going to be adjacent to the bar area. So if there's smokers, they can go out there and smoke. The patio in the front is a lookout over Tollgate Boulevard. And the name of this restaurant, by the way, is the Boulevard. And that's what they call it out in Murfreesboro right now. Again, we have a fitness a gentleman who would like to be out here. We have several people that have shown interest. And as we get ready and get approval from the city, then we'll go into full marketing. I don't know if anybody know who's Alliant is here in town, retail. They will actually be doing the marketing of this center for us. Alliant Real Estate Company will be. This is actually building number 1. Again, this is a building we would like to be able to start no later than early spring, as soon as we can get approval from the city and get our permits in place. And so you can see the facade of what we're trying to make it look like. And also, these are the colors that we've actually leaned toward. Again, if you went to Berry Farm, you would see some of these colors very similar to it. You can see on the front corner here. Step away here.
This is the main corner as you come in, first intersection at Tollgate. You see we got a lot of glass on that particular elevation, so this elevation here. And this is a patio that has totally glass doors, so they can open it up and have fresh air dining during the good months and be able to close this in other months. And this is a bar entrance. This is a whole separate entrance. So somebody who doesn't want to go to the restaurant and get to the bar and go straight to the bar, which is very, very popular in casual restaurant time.
This is the LiveWorks, and again, if you went to Berry Farms, you would see LiveWorks very similar to this. This would be a building where somebody would buy and live there, and then they would have their retail business on the first floor. These are very, very popular. We built 12 or 14 of them over in West Haven, and we built 6 in Berry Farms, and we're fixing to build 5 in Berry Farms, and 5. We expect to start 6 more this coming year. In essence, you can have a real estate office, you can have a chiropractor, you can have different people. The smartphone has changed the retail business. You think about it, if you were a hairdresser before, if you go back about 20 years ago, everybody had to have a receptionist to book the hairdresser. Somebody had to collect the money up front and do all the work up front. Nowadays, with a smartphone, you can text them, you can email them, you can call them, and you can make your appointment. The person can run up and downstairs 2 or 3 different times a day and do their business. And so if you look at, again, we're going to give you a whole list of different type of shops that will be interested in going into this type of facility. And again, you can see the facade we got. And if you go back to that picture of the vision of Tollgate, it was stuff identical to this that was originally in the Tollgate vision. So Tollgate, standalone commercial. Our intent is to build a standalone commercial, retail, and office buildings that make Tollgate a destination for restaurant, dining, and shopping. So when we say a destination, whether you live any area, even down into Berry Farms or even back into Franklin, we want people to say, well, where are you going to go Friday night to eat? We're going to go out to Tollgate, and we're going to go to the Boulevard restaurant or one of the other restaurants that we have here. I can assure you we will have a Mexican restaurant. We will have a Chinese restaurant. They're at the door already. But we wanted to bring in what we call the anchor. And the anchor is the Boulevard, 7,000 square foot facility. That is a major facility that we're bringing in. And again, if you go down to the tenants here, proposed casual restaurant, Mexican restaurant, Chinese restaurant, custard shop, pizzeria, liquor store, animal hospital, a vet, specialty taco shop. If he came in, the odds are the Mexican wouldn't come in, so one of those is going to have to fall into place. Flowers and gift, tutoring center, hair salon, a juicing companies, fitness studios, home decor shop, a pub, a breakfast cafe, a temporary help agency, pet supply company, a postal type center, urgent care, which I don't think would come because the medical's there, a coffee shop, CPA accountant, specialty burger shop, and a bakery shop. So these are what we see being in there. Keep in mind, we're going to build the very first commercial. There's a lot of land in front of this land for future commercial. So when you start thinking of commercial, we're going to show you the map of how much more commercial would be available besides this. And so the first two buildings there, I believe we ended up being, Troy, you remember how many square feet were 20,000 square feet commercial? I'm not sure it's 20,000 square feet of commercial in the first two buildings there. And then on the live work buildings, our intent is to build a walkable area that includes shops and offices, creating a sense of community that has a significant architectural character with parks and green space. When you look at the layout of the community, we want to create little pocket parks in different areas where people can sit. They can walk out with a baby stroller in the daytime, have a sit, and maybe go get an ice cream parlor and get an ice cream. Again, we see going into live works, real estate, photography studio, chiropractor, nail salon, esthetician, home designer, architects. We have these actually in other neighborhoods. Internet web designer, accountant, CPA, and Airbnb. In West Haven, one of the live works turned into an Airbnb. We didn't think the city would approve it. We didn't think West Haven would approve it. And they did, because there's so many people who visit on the weekends, the kids and stuff, they can stay there in the Airbnb instead of going to the parents' house where all the kids are. An attorney, specialty ice cream, insurance agency, photography studio, chiropractor, nail salon, and all some of these repeats. And then financial planner, interior decorator, sandwich shop, meal planning, recording studio, coffee shops, cell phone store, children boutique, health foods, dry cleaners, music store. So these are some of the shops that we would see would be able to go in the live work buildings. This is a live work building we built in West Haven. You can actually go out there and walk this building. The white building on the corner is actually an attorney. I can't remember all the different businesses that are in this building, but they're all our businesses that are in there. Keep in mind, when we were West Haven, they had a lot to say about the first floor design, where when we went to Berry Farms, the Berry Farms people preferred it to have a commercial front, where this has a little bit more of a residential front. And so they had a lot of influence on what we made the first floor look like. This is a live work in Berry Farms. This young lady used to live here in Tollgate, Amber Stromberg. I don't know if y'all know her or not, and she opened a real estate office there. She lives above. She has a real estate office below. This is a building we built for Jonathan Neville's in Murfreesboro. And so it orientates very similar, where you have all the parking in the back. We made sure you had a door to be able to come in directly from the parking lot into the restaurant, which we're doing here. And again, this building was designed, the city of Murfreesboro considered this a gateway project, because right across the street is the president's house for the Middle Tennessee State University. And they wanted to make sure that it really complied with the standards they see happening to the main boulevard at Middle Tennessee State University. You haven't been out there to see it, I highly recommend you going out and see it. It turned out to be an excellent building for us. And you can see we're doing something very similar to it. This is the townhouses that we built in West Haven. We're going to show you a couple plans of the community and how we want to develop it. And so behind the live works, back where the grocery site was going, we're proposing to do 3-story towns. And so these 3-story towns are not live works, but again, they're 3 stories, and so they blend well with what the live works look like. These all sold for right around the high 3s to the low 4s. And so we see something very similar product being built. Again, the architect is doing a commercial. Smith G & Associates, they would be doing this residential for us too. So we want them to blend together, so it looks like a very congenious neighborhood right there with all kind of flows together. Again, you can see, if the area we develop over there behind the live works, we want the same type of streetscape where you have balconies and all overlooking the streets, and you have this feel that we're after. And again, this is the West Haven townhomes that we build, and we're proposing the same type townhomes inside of Tollgate. You can see this site plan here. Again, we've got these on big boards.
The commercial building we showed you, building 1 is here, building 2 here, and live works. So with me now on the 15th. What we're proposing is to do 30 more live works. This area right here, live works, these two buildings will be live works. The rest of these are 3-story townhouses. You want to know the total number count. If you look at this count across here, it's 224 units, of which 30 would be live works.
What we're proposing with the city is hopefully to amend the area zone in there to be able to go to NC to allow live works and townhomes. If they would do that, we still would be able to have the ability to maybe do other commercial if it needed to be down the road. This map here shows you all the other commercial that we have no control over. So again,
You think of other commercial, Mr. Harold Tribe Real Estate, he owns this corner here, he's already reached out to me today, I'd like to work with you. If you get this built up and want to come out here and do something here, he's actually got a small site plan together for 2 buildings. His site does have a little bit of a topography problem that could get worked out, but all of this property is here, additional commercial. We've got a chart that's going to show you what percent this would be commercial versus residential. This is actually a motel site. That site is not underneath any kind of contract. We're working with the developer. He is, I can tell you, there is somebody interested
in the motel out here. He's talked to us in the past 2 years. We put him in touch with him. We don't know what's going to do with that happen, but I honestly feel like if they're able to, they will probably move forward with a hotel site out there. There's 3 of them going in Barry, by the way. Again, this is our layout. You can see the 3-story towns as well as the commercial. This chart right here, this is a question that came up during several of the workshops we had with your neighborhood leadership. They wanted to know what percent was commercial and what percent would be residential in front. Again, I don't know how many of you have ever been out to West Haven or how many have ever been out to Berry Farms. If you haven't been to West Haven, you should go to West Haven and see what percent is townhomes up toward the front, how much commercial actually got established there.
And you find a lot of it turned into more townhomes. And so basically, this area right here, the commercial, which includes our commercial, is 59.2%. If you add the live works into it, this is 1.6% wrong.
That has a live work added.
And it does have it into this area, so this is live work, it's inside that number. And this percent right here would be residential that we would put in here. And again, it would be a seamless transition of 3-story buildings as you come up here. And as we get to this area, these would turn into residential. And these particular areas right here would turn into residential as well as the hill. And the live work would be down in this area, down in what we consider the core. The other thing we've done is we've been very conscious to make sure we got parking taken care of. So if these are going to be commercial, we need additional parking behind these units. That's why you see these parking structures like this. The other parking in the other areas is for guest parking. These are parking regs of the city.
And with that, we open it up for questions and go from there. Sure. And we can go back to any of these slides if y'all want to ask any questions about them.
Anybody got a question?
Hi, I'm Jimmy Farrell, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen tonight. We've lived here 11 years, and it's really been a long, dry period as far as I'm concerned, and we're excited about moving forward with something. One question I have is other access points into Highway 31, because we're just now getting a red light down there at the only access point. So what plans are there to grant additional access into the highway?
We've worked with the developer, and this access point right here will be right in, right out access point. What we did all those, and it will go in. The traffic light is supposed to be completed by the end of the year, before January 1st. I know they're moving as fast as they can with the contractor. So this is your other entrance point. So, and again, that would tie back into the hotel site.
Oh, I think.
Paul Restivo. I think the gentleman asked a question that I was going to ask. I think this is marvelous. However, I do have a concern about traffic. It seems as though every day there's several big trucks going by our home in the front and the back, and I personally don't think the contractor's cleaning up as they move along. And I'd hate to see that for other residents, and including myself. But my major concern is traffic. I'm all for this. Hopefully I could vote for it. But I'm still a little skeptical of what we were promised a couple years ago and what we have today. Thank you.
Sure. We try to be very aware of traffic and mainly keeping the neighborhood clean. We contract with a street sweeping company that comes through our communities on a weekly basis, professional company to come in and keep them clean. At the same time, the bulk of the stuff we will be doing will be up front. There was a little issue with a couple lots.
Because it's the new setback requirements on the alley lot, by the way. And we have committed to buy those alley lot and live with a 20-foot rear setback. And the other one requires 20 feet off the alley, so you got an additional parking for the guests and the people would have. And so part of this deal we're doing with the development here, we would agree to buy these right here and do alley loaded parking on those particular units. That was a little bit of an issue at the last planning committee meeting.
And so in order to get that cleared up, we're going into a workshop next week with the Planning Commission. And we tell everybody this has got to be it or nothing. You know, we're the type of people that we're trying to be flexible. Again, this plan that you have here, Troy could tell you, how many renditions have we done of this so far? About 15? Yeah. He said, when are we going to get this thing finished so we can get it built? But we have, after listening to the leadership of your community, we've adjusted this plan a couple times. And when you get tenants that's going in a commercial building, we adjust as well. The original layout of the restaurant faced, Ellison is the name of the road? And he came out here and walked the side. And he said, no, I want to face the boulevard. And so we've changed that design. And so he is locked in right now.
Just one quick question or a comment, Paul, and for everybody. What they're talking about is here, okay? It has nothing to do with traffic here. All this is still being developed. We're going to have a problem with traffic, and there's not much we can do about it. So don't think that what they're doing is going to impact the traffic back here. It's just down here. So I just want to be sure everybody's clear on that. Who else has got a question?
Hey, Larry, you might also know, too, right now, West Haven, there's over 2,000 plus homes being built in that area with the amount of commercial that they have. They have no traffic light, period, out onto 96. They deal with basically 3 entrances. They have one by the old Kroger site, the fire hall, which is busy like we are. They got the original site that pulled into West Haven, and there's another site that's on down the road by the golf course. So compared to our 800 to 900 possible units with townhomes, residential, and I know I'm off on that number, compared to about 2,500 to 3,000 units at West Haven, they're going to have one stoplight, but they're also going to have kind of one road like we are. So they're a heck of a lot worse shape than we are. But I just want to let everybody kind of think about the West Haven situation with compared to
Jim Robertson, what is the time frame for completion of that from start to finish?
Yeah. Yes, time frame for completion. Basically, if you look at, we always go through cycles in our business. We're probably in the 7th year of a recovery cycle. So, usually a recovery cycle lasts 10 years. We would like to be under construction now, if we could be. We would like to have the commercial building. We've committed to the restaurant that we would have his restaurant open by November of 2018. And that's what he wants. He wants to be before the Christmas season. And so that's what we're doing here. So we'd hope to get that building in. We're planning on submitting it on the 15th to the city. It depends on how fast things run through the city. But at the same time, the architects is there. Everybody's ready to move. As far as banking this type of job, there's no problem whatsoever. When it comes to the towns and the live works and the second commercial building, we would prefer to let it be tenant driven. If you probably lived long enough to seen what Berry Farms has gone through. When it built this first commercial, it never got off the ground that fast. Now it's doing real well, and more commercial people being there. And so what you want to do, you want good quality tenants that will be sustainable through the cycles. You don't have to worry about a guy who's just living on paycheck by paycheck. So you want the best tenants you can get. And I can tell you that I think that we'll have a very good list of very well-do tenants that we could have in there. And so the second building would probably come on the following year, 2019, would actually be occupied. But as far as the towns and all, we would like to move on there immediately. One of the things that happens in our business is we open a store where we build houses, and then we sell out. And it's not like you can go get somebody to get a truckload to deliver new ones. At Berry Farms, we've got another 16-unit condo building we'll start, another 2 single-family houses, and then another 6 live works. And we're done for 2 years. So the timing of this project is ideal for us. We'll be able to move our crews and our people down here and move very fast. We see these townhouses mainly selling to a lot of millennials. And those are the young people coming into Franklin market to be here. What's great about young millennials is they usually are coming from an apartment complex. The odds are they don't have any children yet, or they're planning on having children, and they have a lot of disposable income. So they really help support. And I know some people don't like the apartment complex up there, but I can tell you the number one thing that got this restaurant here is that apartment complex. That he knows the odds are that a certain percentage every night will come over and have a beer or eat at his restaurant. And so once we showed him that and went over and talked about the occupancy and the rents they're paying, it's cemented the deal for the restaurant. So we know the same is going to happen for the Chinese restaurant and the other restaurants that we'll be working with out there. So we want to move very fast. We do close to 400 units a year in the greater Nashville area, and so we like to move fast. But at the same time, we can only move fast as we can work with the developer as well as the city, make sure everybody is happy with what we're doing.
So I don't see any more apartments on here. It's all townhomes, is that right?
All townhomes, all for sale product.
Amen, brother.
And we're not doing any mixed-use buildings right here either. We're not trying to put a commercial with apartments above or condos above, which we did do down in Berry, but we actually talked Berry into taking the commercial out of the downstairs and just making them all condos. But we're mainly a for-sale builder. And so you know that, the restaurant guy who's coming in here, he will come in on one basis. He has an option to buy the building. He actually purchased a building in Murfreesboro, and most of the commercial we build, we sell. In the last 10 years, we've probably built 250,000 square feet of retail, and we sold it mainly to the users. So these buildings will be able to be condoed to where we can actually sell them, and they would belong to an association. It's a town center association, and they would pay dues to that town center association for maintenance and all. And so they can actually be able to buy those spots.
Your comment about the apartments, and what's one of the feedback we got meeting with the other committee over the last month, is they wanted to make sure something was very, very tall to screen as you're coming in Tollgate Boulevard. And that's a critical thing here is what we've got proposed for you. Is we're going to screen it. It's going to go away as you're coming into your home. You're looking at a beautiful 3-story townhome with commercial space on the first floor. That's what you're seeing lining your main boulevard, hiding the commercial buildings behind it. And that's why you hide the parking. That's why you hide all of these things. That's not what you want to look at when you're coming home every night. And we know that, and we're trying to help.
Yeah. Create a streetscape. Yep.
My name is Tim Hassett. You had sort of suggested that we go to West Haven or Berry Farms and sort of see the percentages of commercial versus residential, although that's a bit impractical for us to calculate. I assume you probably have those statistics or access to those statistics. I was wondering if you could provide those. And I was also wondering, I heard the mayor recently weigh in, I don't know where the town stands, on that percentage of breakup and the tax revenue potentially coming from the commercial to support the town and town infrastructure.
I do not have the figures off the top of my head. I think we could probably figure those. But I can tell you the number one complaint to West Haven that we had when we were building condos out there, they wanted more commercial. And the biggest problem was getting commercial out there, that particular. But it has developed more commercial over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I've walked both of those sites, but I've seen them
Right.
and know them fairly well.
Yeah.
But I just, for us to
Yeah.
figure out what
Sure.
that percentage is relative to
Yeah.
what you're proposing
Yeah.
here, I mean,
I don't know
nobody
what.
here is going to walk around and
Yeah.
calculate
Yeah.
square footage and count buildings.
And our biggest thing is that, we want you to have a sense of community, a sense of place, we call it. So when you walk in the neighborhood or you come in the neighborhood, you feel like you're in that special place. And so that's part of the whole idea about the architectural skills. And that's one reason we said see those as well. But you can also look at the live works that we've done there and who's in those spots.
Any feedback from the town relative to tax revenues from commercial components, whether that's enough or percentage?
No, I have not. We haven't really approached that deal, but I think our big point is to show how much more commercial can be out front. All that other land, what you find is why hasn't, Berry Farms developed faster? They didn't really have an anchor. Although West Haven had the anchor of Harris Teeter, it didn't really take off. And the reason it didn't take off, there wasn't quite enough rooftops. Now, the rooftops, they're doing 150 homes this year. They did 100 homes last year. So as the rooftop comes, more commercial comes. And so the bottom line, somewhere along the line, you've got to have enough rooftops to support it. Right. Yeah, right. And, of course, the first grocery store, it didn't really make it. And the real question is, how well will Kroger's do there? It's a very nice location, but you think it doesn't have a lot of other communities nearby that will support it. I think Tollgate, when it concerns with groceries and all, I know the city would like to have a grocery store out there, and a lot of cities like, but what's happening with Amazon right now with drugs and groceries, nobody knows where it's going to go, and the average person buys just in time anyway. We actually have talked to a couple small groceries type vendors and stuff, and at this time, they're all sitting there shaking in their boots, wondering what's going to be the outcome with the Whole Food acquisition by Amazon. So, but mom and pops.
I've got a question about the 7,000 square foot restaurant. How does that relate, like, with the size of Tito's? I don't know how big Tito's is.
Double.
It's double the size of Tito's?
It's over. That's probably only 3,000 square feet.
Okay.
And so that's not a very large facility. Is that what it is? 36.
So double.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody else got questions?
Thank you. I'm Courtney. I have a question about sustainable building practices and how your company uses them, as well as how you're going to maintain the green space, et cetera.
Well, basically, the first thing is anything to do with green space will go into association. So we've declared that this part of the property will be in the Town Center Association. It will not be part of the association that controls the pool and all. So it will have its own association. And so anybody who leases will pay a lease fee plus what they call a CAM, a common area maintenance fee, to maintain all the common area. So whether it's the parking lots out back or the little pocket parks on the inside, there will be a fee just like you pay for a homeowner to maintain it. As far as green practices, all of our product that we build is actually inspected by E3 Innovate. We designed to meet what we call a very low or medium HER score. And that is the lower the score, the better you are. So every product we build gets a HER score that will go with that property for its lifetime. And so we try to hit a 70 and below. The lower the score, the better. And so if you went into any of our sales offices, our salespeople can explain that to you. And so whether it's the sheer size of the AC units or the glazing on the windows and all, we do everything we can to hit a very low HER score. And by the way, within probably 4 or 5 years, the government's going to make every property that ever sells to have one, right? But one of the things you don't really see in here is, and in a lot of detail, at the roundabout, we propose to put pocket parks there. And again, we see nice little areas that, again, a mom can go to with a baby in a stroller, sit in that little pocket park and sit, or you can meet other people there at that intersection. So we think that's a very prominent intersection, and we want to embellish that further. We did the same thing on the West Haven Town Live Works that we built there. We built a very small pocket park in the corner just to open it up so it doesn't feel all cramped in at that roundabout area right there.
Dave, one thing you asked, I don't know if you picked up on it, but one of the questions that came up in the TAC meeting was, you've got 200 and something more townhomes going in, or condos going in down front. And the question was, are they going to be using our pool? I don't know if you heard what he said or not, but when that question came up the other day, I called the developer, and the developer and Dave talked, and I've got a letter from the developer today saying that absolutely not. That'll be a totally separate association, so we don't have to worry about that additional group of people trying to use the pool, because sooner or later you outgrow the capacity of the pool. What are the questions we got? Anybody else got one? Brad, who's got one? I don't see a hand. Oh, here you go. Okay.
My name's John Finch, and I was just wondering, are they going to have their own pool and own workout centers or stuff for that they won't be tempted to try to break into ours?
We build in a lot of cities, and what happened years ago, we were building in Nashville, and Nashville enacted a whole nother set of rules to do with pools. And so you give you an idea, if you build a community in Nashville, for every 120 homes, you got to have an additional pool. And what we found is those pools are very, very expensive to maintain. They're very, very expensive to keep open. They're very expensive to meet all the health requirements and stuff. And so we backed out of the pool business very highly. We consider the amenity for this community is the commercial. It's a sports bar. It's a Chinese restaurant. It is the facilities you have up there. So, but the bulk of our buyers that we will be selling here, and you imagine the millennials coming in, most of them have student debts and stuff of that nature. We want to keep our dues reasonable. That takes care of the maintenance of the exterior of the units as well as the grounds. And we don't really see putting a pool in. You can only use it about 3 months out of the year. And so the buyers that we're after right now, we're not really seeing a need for a pool. You know, again, the other thing is you think Williamson County with all the rec centers they got, I do see someone having like a 24/7 fitness facility here. We built Lenox Village, and we built an apartment complex there that had 280 units in it, and we had our own 5,000 square foot facility in it. And they went out front and built their own 24/7 fitness center. Brian Shaw did, and that facility still is in operation. So we see having its own a private fitness where somebody might pay $10 or $15 a month belong to a fitness center. But no, we do not have any plans for a pool.
Anybody else got a question? I think the one question about the pool was, how do you keep people from using the pool? And I don't know if you've noticed, but the new gate on the pool. Also, we've got a totally new security system we've just put in recently. And from now on, the pool we'll be able to manage it a whole lot closer, because our intent is that the pool monitor, if we have somebody down there next year, when you scan your fob, they'll know your name. They can match it up with your ID, and if it doesn't match up, then obviously there's an issue. So we've got some new things we put in place to try to manage that better. Anybody else got questions?
We're going to be around afterwards, and we got plans laid out on the table you're welcome to look at. And we will be having a work session with the city next week. And any feedback you want to give, we'll take it. And we're not locked in right now, but at the same time, we do see this as something that will evolve a little bit more. And hopefully we can get support from the city, and that we can move fairly quick on getting the front of Tollgate up. I think the timing's perfect for it.
You got one more? Here you go.
Just a question about, are there any takeaways for us, like booklets or anything with this information in it, or your website?
Yeah, we actually going to give the information to you to be able to post on the website to your president here.
Yeah, we're going to put this on. Our intent is to put all this, and that's why we're recording it tonight. This will all be on the Tollgate website. Yeah. So we're hoping to get that put out there.
One of the things we don't want to do politically is to step on the Planning Commission toes. We have to go work with the Planning Commission, and so we have purposely not tried to distribute any information to anybody that would get out there saying this is what they're going to do. We can't tell them we're going to do anything for sure until the Planning Commission votes and accepts what we want to do here. So, but at the same time, as far as the commercial buildings, we're pretty well locked into that. You're welcome. We do have a couple extra ones, and we are going to send electronic copies to Larry and them so he can have it on the webpage too.
Yeah. Are the townhomes going to be 3-story? Well,
They're 3-story towns, and they have internal garages. They all would have 2-car garages.
And And I believe it's off in the back too, right?
It's all alley loaded.
Everything will be in
Everything
the alley.
alley loaded.
Any other questions? Okay, well, what we'll do, two things. One assignment for you. Be sure when you leave, mark one of those boxes and leave it at the back table. That's very important because we're going to vote as you want us to vote. Secondly is Dave's got several tables set up with his team. Feel free to ask questions, to get into the details, and that's really, we'll break it out now and let you kind of ask questions and go back to the individual tables. Thank y'all so much for coming. We really appreciate the turnout, and look forward to your vote.